Yo, Bo, welcome to another episode of In the Life of MightyFan. We got another vehicle vlog today. Where am I going today? I am going over to formerly Franklin Mills, now of course Philly Mills Mall, where my buddy Anthony works at Pro Image. And they are dropping a very nice Fanatic hat today, as if I need more Fanatic hats. But I'm getting another Fanatic hat today. How many Fanatic hats do you need? I need them all, damn it. No, I need more, because, you know, he is the goat of mascots, and he and I both share a birth year. So, you know, when a nice Fanatic hat is out there and it's attainable for me to get, I will try to get it and add to the collection of the big green guy. And so yeah, they're doing a very nice one actually. It's a nice Kelly green hat, Fanatic on the front, nice different side patch. I have not seen this particular side patch done before, so at least it's a little different. So I'm going there today on this really nice Saturday. We had a like a tropical storm remnants come through, and over the past few days, and it, like, you know, the one good thing about those kind of storms is that it cleared it, like, it's almost like a clean slate. You know, it clears out all the ickiness and whatever in the weather. It's a little hot out there, but not like tremendous for an August day. Today's what, August 10th? Birthday's in a few weeks, so it's my birth month. But it you know, it kind of clears everything out, so all that hot, humid stickiness is pretty much gone now, which is nice. It's supposed to be pretty nice for at least the coming week or so. So, you know, now I think we got kind of lucky with the storm, because most of it went west, which isn't very normal for these kind of storms. Usually they kind of do a you know, like a shoreline pattern, and which is why some of these storms sometimes are called nor'easters, because they come up the northeast coast. This one kind of stayed west, and you know, I think the bulk of it kind of hit like the Harrisburg area and beyond further west. So I think here, I mean, we got a little rain. It wasn't as much as like earlier in the week. It looked like it was going to be like a real wet fest, you know. It was not looking promising. We didn't get as much rain. We did get some wind yesterday. It wasn't like terrible, but you know, you can tell it was windy out. And then we got a little rain, but not to the level of, you know, what it could have been. So I think this area kind of dodged a bit of a bullet, but I do feel for the people out in the, you know, more west of us, who have to deal with all the power lines being down and trees down and all that, you know, stuff that comes with storms like that. And it's terrible. It's you know, it's just I remember at the old house where I used to live with my mom, they anytime we had a big storm, like a big, you know, rainstorm, there was a portion of the basement that got flooded, and it was it sucked. It really did. It we would go down there, and you know, you would hear it. You know, you would hear the water, and it would be like, oh no, you know, and have to go down there. We had like one of those, like the wet vac. We had a wet vac, and we had to like vac it up. I never looked forward to those days. But my mom and I would be down there, and it would be like, you know, and it wasn't the biggest thing. It was almost like a bucket with a hose attached to it, basically. And it would suck up the water and fill the bucket, and then when the bucket was full, you know, you would have to empty the bucket and then kind of put the attachment back on it, and it was, yeah. But we did it. But yeah, the big rain days there were just not the funnest thing in the world. But the house I'm in, that I have here, doesn't have any kind of issue like that, which is good. I think my street where I'm at, it's kind of on a little bit of a, not a big hill, but a little bit of a slope. So I think the water just kind of, runs down, not in. And I don't have flooding issues, but I do have PSD from flooding issues in the old house. It was rather annoying. It really was. It was like, and we had a sump pump, and it would work, but it wasn't like, it was an older house. It was an older system, and so it just wasn't up to the more standards of what houses should be doing to get water out. But those days are done, thankfully. So one of the things I remember from it is, like, the water was cold, so like being in it, like, vacuuming it up and everything, like the hands would get cold, and you get like the prune fingers, and it'd be like, ugh, yeah, not fun. But anyhow, since the last vid, the Phillies have been playing a little better. It's tough. Baseball is one of those seasons. It's a long season, and there's so many peaks and valleys. Even for the teams like, the Phillies, I would still consider to be a team that, would be, challenging for a World Series. And even for those teams, they're peaks and valleys. Like right now, Cleveland, who had at one point the best record, just like a week ago, they had the best record. They've lost 7 straight. They haven't won a game in like a week. And you look around, I mean, all teams go through it, and it sucks when it does. Like, particularly when you're a team that, is in contention. And around here, everything's to the Eagle standard. So every season's like, the fans look at it like a football season. Like, you really can't do that with baseball. Baseball, it's a long season. There are slumps. It happens. It sucks when it's multiple players at the same time. I get that. And we do have, PSD from the Phillies last year, all going cold with the bats in the Arizona series and losing that series that they should have won. And even the year before, losing to Houston the way they did. I mean, I get that, but baseball is such a long season, and I get frustrated too, but it's a long season. There's going to be times where you're real, if you're one of the teams like the Phillies, you're really good, and then you're going to have to go through, you're going to go through slumps. You're going to go through, the month of July was terrible. So hopefully they got that out of their system and, can get back to playing good baseball. And I think for the most part, over the past week, they did. They took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers in LA, and they won the first game in Arizona. Arizona's like the hottest team in baseball right now, and they won the first game. They lost last night on a walk-off. I was hoping before the series started, because they always struggle in Arizona. I mean, historically, they always struggle in Arizona. So it's like, if we can get a split in the 4-game set, I would consider that like a win, because Arizona's like playing like the hottest team in baseball right now. If we could split with them there, I would take it. They lost last night in a walk-off home run, but if the Phillies can win one of the next 2, at least, and okay, one of those losses was a walk-off home run, 3-2 game, all right. I mean, I'll take it, to be honest. And then you got, not to look past anybody, but then you're coming home to play, the Marlins and Washington. I mean, they're winnable, winnable games, winnable series. Then they have another little tough stretch there, but it is what it is. I mean, the main thing for me is I would like for the Phillies to get one of the be one of the top teams in the NL, if not the top team, to get that bye and have the home field throughout. And I know it didn't help them against Arizona last year. That was terrible, but I would rather that than the alternative. So at the end of the day, when September comes to an end, if the Phillies are the number one team in the National League and they have the bye and home field throughout at least the NL playoffs, I'd be perfectly fine with that, to be honest. I know there's worry. Oh, the bye, or they're gonna go cold again after. I get that. It's like you can't win. It's when they're slumping, it's they're terrible. They're blah blah blah. And then if they have the first seed, but they got the bye now. What happens now? Look at the Braves. Look at the Dodgers. They can't win after the bye. Now we have the bye. I can see it now. But I'd rather that, to be honest. So, let's get through that tough patch. I mean, it's, hopefully it's behind us, and hopefully they can get a win either today or tomorrow in Arizona, get a split at least, and then, do damage against the teams that they should do damage against in Miami and Washington. I'll be there next Friday, home that game against Washington. So hopefully things can, continue to turn around for them. And the Eagles, they had their preseason opener last night. Baltimore, Slim's favorite team. I was FaceTiming with Slim towards the end of the game. Well, really for the second half of the game. Slim has a hatred that you couldn't believe for the Ravens because he lives in the Baltimore area and he has to hear their fans all the time. So he's really against the Ravens. Like, I hate the Cowboys is my team. I can't stomach them. And Slim doesn't like Dallas either, but it's Baltimore for him. And the Eagles, it was an interesting finish. The Eagles had the ball, they were driving, and it was not much time left in the game. Jake Elliott's out there. He misses. He doinks a 50-yard field goal off the goalpost, so it's no good. And it's a tie game at the time, 13-all, I believe. And then Baltimore gets the ball. Now, Baltimore is one of those teams that over the years are very prideful of their preseason record. I don't understand it. To me, so okay, your third stringers are better than other teams' thirds, but it's like a tradition for them to win preseason games. And it goes back to like the Brian Ballack days, right? They want to win every preseason game. So Baltimore has the ball. And it's a tie game. Now, you can end in a tie in preseason. But, it's at the part of the field where you still have a shot. And the quarterback goes back for a pass, and the Eagles pass rush gets there. And they strip the ball from him. They strip sack him, basically. Eagles get the ball right back. The Eagles have a couple times they run a play, they call timeout, and with 4 seconds left, Elliott makes the field goal, and the Eagles win in a walk-off in Baltimore, 16-13 in a preseason game, whatever. But, Slim was... Now, the Eagles do play the Ravens in Baltimore for real this year. I think it's like the first week in December, that first Sunday in December. But Slim was a happy man last night when that happened. I mean, it was a weird way to win a game. Look, it's a preseason game. I don't go crazy. We have to win every. But it's always nice to see your team win, and just the way they won was like, okay, well, that was different. But it was funny because before I went to bed, I had the NFL Network on. And they were, like, I turned it on, they were doing their own live feed of the game, but it was the Baltimore perspective. It was their commentators. And I thought it was funny because when the Eagles got the ball back and they ran a play, they called it, and it was like they did like the victory formation, but it was only to like get a little closer, I think, to like put the ball more in the middle for the kick. And the Baltimore guys were like, oh, maybe this is Gabe's ship. The Eagles are just going to take the tie or something. They were just so disappointed when the Eagles kicked the field goal. I mean, but preseason games matter there. I mean, they don't want to lose preseason games, but I thought that was funny. Slim would have gotten a kick out of that too. And I do want to give a congratulations and shout out to the great Merrill Reese. He's been calling Eagles games since '77. He's been there for many great moments and not so great moments. He called the Super Bowl win, and he got into the NFL Hall of Fame, deservedly so. He was I think what they call it, the Ford Frick, or something. I forget the name. Maybe that's baseball. I forget. But for the announcers, basically, contributors. I think what it is for the NFL. So he got in he is a NFL Hall of Famer, and he's been calling Eagle games as long as I've been alive, and beyond, a year beyond. He called all the Miracle of the Meadowlands. He called all the Super Bowls the Eagles have been in. He's been the voice of the Eagles for so long. He has a very distinct voice, and him and Mike Quick do such a great job. You know, I think in this town we're really lucky because our announcers are just terrific. You know, for the Phillies, both radio and TV announcers have been really great. Of course, coming off the heels of Harry Callis many years ago. You know, the Flyers, I think Jim Jackson does a really good job. And, you know, and on the radio, they do a good job too. And they've been at it for a while on the radio. The Sixers, McGinnis on the radio does a wonderful job. He's just terrific. You know, Kate Nala, you know, at first, I wanted to give it a shot, and I you know what, it's kind of grown on me. You know, I'm okay with Kate Scott Nala, Abdenabi. You know, I mean, we you know, I grew up with Mark Zumoff, who was the voice of the Sixers on TV, and the mayor, you know, Steve Mix was the color man, and you know, I love their TV broadcast, and so it's different when you lose it. You know, when a legend retires, like Mark Zumoff did, whoever replaces them, it's going to be tough. And it was tough for Tom McCarthy when Harry Callis, passed, and you know, T-Mac had to be the guy, right? It was tough because, you know, you can't replace a legend, but you have to take their spot. You know, it's just, I mean, someday Merrill Reese is going to retire, and who's going to be the next guy, right? Who's going to be the next voice of the Eagles? And it's going to take time, right? I mean, Harry Callis had to take over I'm blanking on the name of the gentleman who called the Phillies games back in the day, but was like a legendary announcer. And then Harry became the legendary, you know, voice of the Phillies for a very long time. And I think like T-Mac does a great job, and you know, the radio crew, they're terrific. You know, Kate Nala, you know, it's going to take time, but I think over time, I think the appreciation will be there a little more. I don't think Kate's terrible. Like, people think she shouts a little too much or whatever. You know, it's going to take time. You know, but I think she has a right to get her place. You know, to take her place in the booth, and you know, over time, I think, you know, she'll get better. You know, I think she's very knowledgeable of the game. I know she calls games too, like for football. She's actually one of the she's the first female to have her voice in Madden. as one of the announcers. I think that's pretty cool. There's a Philly tie for that, right? So, it's going to take time. I mean, look, you're replacing, like I said, a legend in Mark Zumaloff. I mean, he was Mr. Voice of the Sixers for many years, and it's tough. It's tough. Like I said, you can't replace a legend, but you have to take their spot. And I think over time, I think Kate will find her voice and find her way. So I'm rooting for her. I really, as a Sixer fan, look, I watch the games, and I know people watch the games. They turn the volume down. They turn on the radio to hear McCarthy, and I mean that's perfectly fine. He's a tremendous voice. I can never sync my TV up to it. I just, it goes to commercial break, and it's like you have to do it again. So what I like to do it the most with is football, because obviously with football, the Eagles don't have a TV announce crew. It's the national broadcasters, and some of them are, not the greatest. So, to try to sync that up with Merle and Mike that's probably where I tend to do it the most. But even that's tough, because it's just tough for me. Syncing it with the radio, it's really tough. When I get it, it's like the TV will go to commercial break, and then they come back, and it's like more work than it has to be. I don't like the delay. I don't like the delay. If there's a delay, though, I'd rather it be the radio side, because I don't want to hear what happens before I see it. But so I think we're real lucky in this town. We have really good broadcasters, particularly with, like I said, with football, with baseball. And baseball, you have to, because it's such a long season. You have to be entertained, Even for teams that aren't doing, even in years where the Phillies weren't doing good, at least we had the broadcast team that would keep us entertained. But anyhow, yeah, we're on the boulevard right now, Roosevelt Boulevard. Heading over to good old Franklin Mills. As a Philly captain would say, if you still call it Philly Mills, you're a jerk off. Shout out to the Philly captain. I actually saw one of his buddies the other day. The Wells Fargo Center was having their annual sale, and I almost by accident saw the thing about it on Instagram on the Wells Fargo Center site, and so I went down there, and there's this guy Buster. He works for Q102, local radio station, but he's Philly Captain. Like, you'll see him in the Philly Captain's videos from time to time. And so I think the toughest thing about that is that, the thing that, like, the doors opened at 10, and I got there about 9:30ish, and it was one of those really hot days, and I'm sitting there, I'm on like one of the windowsills outside the team shop at the Wells Fargo Center, and that sun was beating down. But Buster came around with the microphone. He had a guy with the doing the video, and they interviewed people. They interviewed me. I don't think I made the cut, but then I saw Buster again inside, and I got his Instagram handle. I said, "Yeah, you're the Philly Captain's friend, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, Philly Captain's the man." So that was cool. The sale itself, I mean, I went there primarily to see if they had the Adidas jerseys on sale for hockey, because obviously Fanatics is taking over. And, I mean, I think they had like a 30% deal going for some of them, like most of them, I should say, because the players that are still on the team, the ones that were deep discounted were the players that were already gone, Cam Atkinson and, players like that who are gone now from the team. So I didn't pick up any of those. But I made out pretty good. I got like 3 Sixers shirts, a Flyers shirt, a Flyers hat, and I've never owned a Wings jersey, so I got a few Philadelphia Wings, which is the indoor lacrosse league for that league here. They're the local team, and so the things that were on sale at the Wells Fargo were the Flyers, Sixers, and Wings, because those are the 3 teams that play there. Years ago, the Eagles were involved, and the sale was at the Link. Like, you would go to the Lincoln Financial Field, and there would be like an area up on the upper level, and they would have all stuff, like Eagles stuff, Phillies, Flyers. Phillies were involved too for a bit, but now it's just the teams at the Wells Fargo. The Eagles have, at their pro shop, they always have like sale racks, so I guess they figure they don't really have to, do something like that. But it's nice. It's nice. I haven't been to that sale in years. And it was kind of like one of those kind of, okay, all right, I'll get down there. We'll take a look. Because again, I wanted to see if the Adidas, hot Flyer jerseys would be deep discounted. I didn't think most of them would be, and as it turned out, most of them were, I think they did like 30% on the current players. I didn't get any of those because I went for the deep discount stuff, Now, what I didn't realize was the stuff in the fan gear shop was part of it too. I didn't realize that till I was standing in line, because what they did, you went through the fan gear shop and they had part of the concourse area, they had like racks and tables of shirts and jerseys and all sorts of stuff. And that's where I really kind of stayed around. And then it was a pretty lengthy line, to check out. I was in line and I saw what they did was they had everything had a little color coordinated little sticker on the label, and the color of the sticker was the price of the thing. So like $5, $10, $20, you know what I'm saying? Color coordinated. And there was a chart that I didn't see when I went in, but I saw when I was leaving, and it tells you, okay, this color is this price, this color. So when I was in line getting out, I noticed that the shirt, everything at the inside the fan gear, the shirts and the hats, they had those color things. I'm like, damn. But I know the jerseys in there weren't really part of the color coordinated thing, but I think they were like 30% if I heard right. But so I'm like looking around, and as I'm in line, and that's where I grabbed the Flyers hat, and I think it was like $10. I grabbed the Flyers hat out of there because it goes with my black jerseys. So, but I'm like, yeah, that's the mental note for me for next year. If I come back to this sale next year, and I'll have to remember to look around the fan. The problem though is that you got the checkout line, and it. So I don't know. Maybe if I do it next year, because it's like a 3-day event. I don't know if I would do this or not, but maybe one day go for the concourse area, and then another day go back and check out what's in the shop. But I mean, that might be a little overkill, but it was cool. I had fun. It was nice. I have Wings jerseys now. I never had those, so and they were pretty cheap. I think those jerseys were like $25 each. And I mean, some of them looked like they were, I don't know if they were team issue or what, but they were really well done. Got a Marvel Knight jersey, There was one jersey I couldn't get because it wasn't in my size. And it was like it was almost like a camo design on the shoulders, but it was like Eagles colors. And I'm like, oh, that would be cool. And they didn't have a 2X in that. I don't even think they had an XL in that. And it was hard because everything was so jammed in to those racks. Not that I know anything about that. But the jerseys were so packed that it was hard to see the size. And the problem was, as I was looking on one side of the rack, there'd be other people on the other side of the rack and were tugging at the same jerseys. And at one point, some of the Wells Fargo Center staff came over and they went to move one of the racks towards the back. And I was looking at the Flyer shirts. And I didn't want to lose my spot, so I was holding on to the sleeve of the shirt and moving with them. And it was all for nothing because they didn't have any of those shirts in my size. But they were like the performance type shirts. The shirt I like wearing them because they're comfortable and they're light. But they didn't have those in my size. But it was cool. You know, it was a nice little event. Like I said, I haven't been to that. I haven't been to, because honestly, I didn't see anything about their sale the past how many years on social media. And they don't really, they put one thing up about it, and it's like, you know, it's usually in the summer, and they do their blowout deal, and they don't really, they put one little ad up on social media, and then that's it, you know. So if you don't see it, and you're not looking for it, you know, you're probably going to miss it. I don't know if they send things to like season ticket holders or whatever. Hey, we're doing this sale or whatever. I mean, people were ready for it. You know, you got people there with boxes, and it's really something. But some people go to them, and what they do is they get a lot of stuff and then they donate it, you know, to the homeless and stuff. So that's cool. You know, it's nice that they do that. I remember there was a story years ago when they had it at the link. There was someone in there with like 2 boxes just full of stuff. And they're like, yeah, we're going to we're taking this to a shelter, and it's going to go to the homeless and stuff. And it's nice, you know, nice stories like that. But it was cool. You know, it was a cool event. I have off work. I took off yesterday. I have off all next week. You know, I have vacation days to use, so taking a little pre-birthday week off. And I'm going to Slim's tonight. And I'll be there until for a few days, and then next Thursday I'm going to see my buddy Anthony again. We're going over to Mitchell and Ness. We're going to the flagship. We're going to the corporate stores, as I call it. It's a little birthday gift for myself. I haven't been to. I honestly I haven't been to the flagship or the corporate office stores in a minute. So, you know. Obviously there's been a lot going on and everything, you know, over how many months. So, but I'm gonna go there, a little treat myself for my birthday, and Anthony's coming along, and we're gonna look around, see what we can't find, and you know, it's always a fun trip. So that's the Thursday plan, and then Friday night I have a Phillies game. So it's gonna be a nice little vacation. Just, you know, got some stuff in there, and good to see Slim, good to see Anthony, maybe Mark M if we get together or something. You know, it's just you know, it's nice to have some time. You know, sometimes the old saying, you know, you work yourself to death. You know, it's, you know, make sure you put in some time, you know, for yourself, because you need to do that. You know, or if you're a family person, put in the time for your family, because, you know, that's an important aspect of life too. I get into stuff like that too, where I'm just, you know, okay, it's go to work, you know, but, you know, you got to remember to put some time aside just to, you know, recharge the batteries, do some stuff that you want to do, you know. That's part of life. And I think it's the aspect of life that sometimes, you know, people forget about. And it's, you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself too, you know. It's nice to have a job, it's nice to work, it's nice to, you know, feel like, okay, you're doing what you have to do there, but at the same time, you know, take a week, you know, just get away, recharge the batteries, do other things. It's an important thing. You know, we can't be like robots, just working home. And sometimes it feels like that, you know, honestly. But even my job, it says like the work-life balance. It's, you know, you have vacation days, use them, you know, or you lose them, you know, at the end of the year. So yeah, taking a little trip over to Mitchell on Thursday, and the Phillies game on Friday. Over to the Slims here for a few days prior to that, and trying to have a good time. Slim and I were trying to brainstorm on some things to do. We were trying to figure different places to eat, because, you know, you know, it happens. You know, you get comfortable, you kind of the same. Let's just do this, you know. So Slim and I were trying to think, oh, what else is around that we can just go and do something a little different. We'll see how things go. Hopefully, I think the weather's supposed to be nice, which is good. Like I said, this storm, it just wipes away all that ickiness. So I'm sure there'll be some time in the pool too. And I know Slim, I know he's already said, you're going down that, we call it shark. It's, it's like horse, it's shark, and a little basketball hoop thing. I know Slim. Thought I had him that time. I really. But Slim, he rose to the occasion. He made that hook shot, and then it was all over them. Be good to see Slim again. It'd be good to hang out there for a few days. It'll be good to see Anthony today and Thursday, and yeah, it's good people. I've known him for a few years now. I've known him. He used to be at King of Prussia. He used to be at the mall there, and through the COVID years, I would go there, and those were interesting times. Those were. I was thinking about that this morning because, that was in the era where you would have to wait in line for hats. I'm glad those days are done. I know that there might be some places they still do online. I know there's still some hats that go like that, but I do not miss those days of every freaking hat selling out within minutes. It ushered in an era where there's so many hats created now, which is cool. I mean, you're not gonna, anymore, there might be some hats, but for the most part, you're really not going to miss out on something, because if it's available one place, it's going to be available in maybe not the same exact version, but in variations. This site, that, because once something becomes popular, everyone starts taking advantage. Like when the mascot hats started coming out and the Fanatic, I missed out on the first couple Fanatic hats. And I'm like, damn, I really want that Fanatic hat. I really... And since then I've got how many Fanatic hats, right? Because they were popular. There's money involved, so all these companies start. All right, let's get the. And they all know that. The Fanatic. The Fanatic has big saleability, so a lot of companies make Fanatic hats. So you're not going to miss out on a Fanatic hat anymore. There might be certain ones that sell out quicker than others, but there'll be others done. So. But those first few, I remember it was because it was new, and it was one of those things where it's like, damn, it's like this is my favorite mascot, I can't get him. And since I've cooped a decent amount of them, so but those years, the COVID, the lines, the flippers, oh god, the flippers. And like I said, I could always point them out because they were the ones in line. They were always, their nose was in the phone. They weren't socializing with anyone, you knew, right? I think the one good thing about those lines was the camaraderie, right, the stories, the talking with people. That's the one kind of positive that came with it, but the negative was just, you're waiting in line for hats, it's like, and you got all those damn flippers there, and it was just... That was the negative of it, obviously, but there was positives that came out of it. The first being that now you have so many hats made, so many different sites that do them, and the styles that, if you miss out one place, you'll get it in another. And like I said, the lines, yeah, it did become a little much after a while, but then you were able to communicate with people. That's one thing I like doing, even if I'm going to a sale like Black Friday at the ballpark or something, waiting in line, but you're talking to people. There's stories, when there used to be lines outside Mitchell and Ness for their sales, right? And you talk to the people and getting to know some people, and the stories and the camaraderie. What are you looking for? Oh yeah, I'm going after that. What do you talk about each other's collections or whatever it was, and just talking, whatever. So that's one of the positives that came out of it. But you know, this mall during those years was probably the most notorious for the lines in the area. Because you have a decent amount of pro images in the area. But this one at Franklin Mills, they always like shouted out the line every week, and it would frustrate me because not for those that were there just to get the hat, but I mean it was almost like they were like, you know, in my mind, and it was probably wrong, but it was almost like they were encouraging the flipping. It was like, but look how many of these people in the line are there just to grab a bunch of hats and throw it online for $200 each. It's like, but people were buying them for those prices, believe it or not. I could never pay $200 for a hat. There was no hat made that I would ever consider throwing $200 down. I'll do it for jerseys. I won't do it for hats. But in those years, it was quick money. And hats were selling, and you know, the flow. Do I hate the hustle? Am I hating on the hustle? No, because people need a living. But it was so ridiculous. But I could point them out, like, if, you know, when Pro Image at Frank, when they would do the shout out to the line, it's like you can look at the line and they would show the line, and I could always point, oh, that's a flipper, that's a flipper, that's a flipper. In a way, it was a bit of a war between the collectors and the flippers, because the flippers always were, they just had the way of getting the stuff, right? They used the bots online. They would do all those different things to get these hats, and they would keep them from certain collectors. So there was, in those years, you know, it was a pretty good, you know, online. I mean, I wasn't really a part of it, but there was a real online battle with the hat community, the collectors versus the flippers. And I remember in one of the groups I'm in, with the New Era guys, shout out to them, Robert and Hazor and company. I remember some of the battles on that group, in that group, and they would, I mean, it would be pretty rough, you know. They would, and it got tough because these companies were putting out hats in quantities that just weren't meeting the demand. And it wasn't their fault, because getting the material and all was tough. It was COVID. Everything was tough, right? Shipments were delayed and everything. And it's just, but to keep up with the demand was very difficult, even more difficult during those years because of the COVID, because of everything being shut down and shipping becoming issues and everything. It was really a tough time to get hats. So when Pro Image really started stepping up and doing their weekly drops, it was, for me, it was a way to get hats. Because I knew if I went to KOP, I can get there, I can be one of the first people there. And really, as it turned out, there wasn't as many people. Like at the beginning there was, but as time went on, it got less and less. But the line stayed the same at, you know, other places like here at Franklin Mills. But I just saw it as a way to get hats, because I just didn't have the fast fingers. You know, I couldn't hit those drops online like Hat Club and all these other sites. I think I even did some videos on it. There was like a secret button. Like these different things that you had to, like the hoops you had to jump through just to get a hat, was ridiculous. But they had to do it. And I understand it, but it just, as a collector, it made it so difficult. So places like Lids and Pro Image, where I could just go and get what I wanted to get, for the most part, that was a savior for me. So Pro Image, you know, them stepping up and putting out their weekly drops, and, you know, me going there, you know, not every week, but, you know, a good amount, and getting to know Anthony, and, you know, and having those experiences. I mean, look, I made a good friend out of it, so I can't hate on it, but there were aspects of it that were tough. particularly online. It just really was tough to get a hat. And construction. It did. It made it tough. And some of those hats, like looking back at some of the stuff I got back then, not just that pro image, but was able to hit online. You know, those are hats that I'm kind of still proud to have, because it really, you had to put in a lot of work to get it was something. And then you were at the mercy, right, with Lids. They would do these drops, and for a time, like Lids HT would put out the drop afterwards, you know, and they would basically the leftovers or whatever, but they would put out the whole set. But in store, you were at the mercy of whatever hats they can get. So you would always, like here, you would always have the Phillies hat, the Yankees hat mainly, the Dodgers, Houston. But a lot of those other teams, like, we wouldn't get them. And I remember the one, and shout out to Slim, when he went and he got the Marlins hat for me that I really, he was in, just happened to be, he was in Florida. He was taking a trip to Florida, so I asked him if he can get it, because it wasn't here. And he was able to get one for me. But those were challenging years for sure to collect. But at the same time, it opened the door for so many different places to put out hats. And to this day, they still do. And the flippers have kind of gone away. They moved on to something else now. I don't know. Maybe it's belt buckles or something. I have no idea. But they've moved on. There's still some. There's still some hats that go crazy and they flip and whatever. But for the most part, there really isn't that big, you know, run for hats as it was. So flippers have moved on to maybe, I don't know, handbags or something. I don't know what they're going after now, but I'm not shedding a tear for that. But just stay away from jerseys and hats. But yeah, you know, kind of reminiscing about that today. I was just thinking of that. Like, you know, those years standing in the line, you know, kind of, you know, chatting it up with some people, and, you know, it was cool because you would hear stories, and I think that's, like I said, that was one of the good things that came of it. You know, the strange thing was waiting in line for hats, but the good thing was, like, you know, talking to people, and, you know, going over stories and stuff. And we are here. We are at the now known as the Philadelphia Mills Mall. Of course, old heads like myself still call it the Franklin Mills Mall. And this Audi didn't want to, it looked like he wanted to play a game of chicken. I am here at the mall, one of the mall entries, and I'm going to go in and see my good buddy Anthony, and get yet another Fanatic hat, and then later tonight, or this evening I should say, I'll be heading over to Maryland and go to visit with my buddy Slim, and you know, we'll have some fun. Yeah, so thanks for joining here with me on this close to 50-minute journey to the old Franklin Mills Mall, and I'm going to meet up with Anthony, going to get a hat, and I think I'll get some lunch afterwards. Primo's is having a sale this week, so I might go there. Anyhow, y'all take care. Thanks for watching as always, and what we always got to do, we got to leave those likes. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. The road to 2K. I want to get 2K subs by the end of the year. I thank each and every one of you who has subscribed to this point, but keep doing so. The road to 2K, trying to get the 2K subs by the end of the year, by the end of the calendar year 2024. It's a bit of a goal, so let's help me make it happen, okay? Because I need you to do it. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and hit the bell icon once you do to make sure you're notified to all content from yours truly. There'll be content also this week coming up after my trip and whatever. I do want to do the video for the start the NFL collection vid. I know some of you have been waiting, so we're going to get into that. We're going to get to that video starting that continue on with the collection series. I'll have a pickup vid as well intermixed. So, you know, just you want to hang in there. You want to keep being notified to all future content from yours truly, which there will be plenty more of. So you want to do those three big things on YouTube, right? And a shout out to all of you. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you again soon here on the channel. All right, everyone, take care. Bye. I gotta get another Fanatic hat because you know I still need them. I do. He's my buddy. All right, I'll see you all. Take care.